They say the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Centuries after the colonizers left, Africa still sits in classrooms built by their design, learning lessons written by their hands and measuring intelligence by their standards. We will tell our children about Shakespeare, but not about Achebe before things fall apart. We recite Newton's law, but ignore the ancient African engineers who built pyramids that still define modern science. We celebrate foreign history, but forget our own. Our children can define photosynthesis in perfect English, but they cannot tell the story of the Yam Festival in their village. They are educated yet disconnected, intelligent yet colonized. We may have gained independence, but our minds still kneel in the classroom. And that's the question we must face today. Are we truly free? Or are we just wearing new uniforms in the old colonial classroom? My friends, this message is not just about books and the blackboards. It is about mental liberation. In this video, you are going to discover how the colonial curriculum was designed to produce workers, not thinkers. How it still shapes African education system today, training our youth to serve, not to lead. And finally, how we can rewrite our curriculum to reflect our values, culture, and the destiny. Because if the classroom is the factory of mind, then whoever controls the curriculum controls the future. By the end of this talk, you will see that colonial education didn't just take our land, it took our logic. But we can take it back. And to understand how deep this goes, let me tell you a story, one that mirrors every African classroom today. Once, a little boy named Tunde sat in a village classroom in Nigeria. Every day, his teacher made him recite Christopher Columbus discovered America. Tunde raised his hands and asked, "But sir, were people not living there before he came?" That is to say, people not living in America before the arrival of Christopher Columbus? The class laughed. The teacher frowned. He said, "That's what the book says. Don't question the book." Years later, Tunde grew up, smart, fluent, and obedient. He got good grades, but his creativity died in silence. He was trained to memorize, not to imagine, to repeat, not to rethink. That's the story of millions of African children, taught what to think, not how to think. Our schools became factories of conformity, producing certificate holders instead of solution builders. We reward those who remember, not those who invent. The British left, but their blueprint stayed. So how did this colonial curriculum survive long after the colonizers packed their bags? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. When the colonial masters built the first schools in Africa, their goal was clear, not to empower, but to control. Education was designed to produce clerks, interpreters, and administrators, people who could serve the empire, not transform it. We were taught English literature, but not African wisdom. We learned European history, but not our own dynasties. We studied French architecture, but not our own mud, art, or bronze craft. The classroom became a factory, molding minds to feed the system of the oppressor. And when independence came, we carried that same curriculum into our freedom. Like a snake shedding his skin but keeping his venom. The tragedy is that we inherited education without decolonizing its foundation. But the problem deepened when our leaders began to measure progress by certificate, not by creativity. Our parents told us, go to school, get good grades, get a job. But no one asks, who are you in this world? Because everybody has a gift that God has given to him. Your creativity is in you. You need to know who you are first before you choose a course. We build an education system that rewards memorization over imagination. Our students can quote European philosophers but cannot solve African problems. We created a classroom where the brightest minds dream of escaping abroad because the system taught them to look outside for validation. We call it education, but it is more like mental colonization, wearing a graduation gown. We trained our people to think that success means speaking perfect English, not speaking truth in any language. And that's how we became educated foreigners on African soil. But there's a more dangerous layer: the way colonial curriculum disconnected us from purpose and community. Before colonial education, learning in Africa was communal. We learned by apprenticeship, storytelling, and a wisdom sharing. A child learned the trade of his father, the craft of his mother, the history of his tribe. Education was not just to pass exams, it was to pass wisdom. But the colonial system destroyed that rhythm. It replaces heritage with the hierarchy. Now we grade intelligence by paper, not by purpose. A man who cannot fix a broken pipe but can write a long essay is called educated. A woman who can feed a village with her hands but cannot speak good English is called illiterate. We have flipped wisdom upside down, and that's why our graduates roam the street with empty pockets and proud certificates. We build schools that produce employees, not entrepreneurs, followers, not innovators. But there's still hope because a new generation is beginning to wake up. Across Africa, a silent revolution is rising. Young teachers, reformers, and innovators are rewriting what education should mean. In Kenya, there's a push for competency-based learning. Teaching skills, not just facts. In Ghana, educators are including African history and local languages in national curricula. In Nigeria, tech hubs are training youth to code, design, and solve real problems. The tide is turning, the chains are cracking, and it begins with one realization that education must serve the people, not the past. We must teach children not just to pass exams, but to build nations. Because a system that ignores its culture cannot inspire its future. Now the question is, how can we, me and you, help in decolonizing our classrooms? One is relearn your roots. Learn your local history, languages, and traditions. Knowledge begins with identity. Number two, support indigenous education. Encourage schools or programs that teach African culture, technology, and the creativity. Number three, challenge outdated systems. Speak up when schools ignore cultural education. Write, post, advocate. Number four, teach critical thinking. Encourage children to question and analyze, not just to memorize. Number five, value local wisdom. From proverb to farming, from storytelling to science, Africa has its own libraries of wisdom. Each of us can be a teacher, not of colonial history, but of cultural truth. And this leads us to the real heart of the solution. The cure to colonial curriculum is not just deleting old subjects, it is redefining education itself. We must blend modern knowledge with African identity. Let the child of Africa learn about technology and tradition. Let mathematics meet morality and science shake hands with spirituality. Education must move from information to transformation. Our goal should not be to mimic Europe, but to master our environment. Because the richest nations are not those that learn the most, but those that learn about themselves the most. The day we teach our children who they are, not who they must copy, that's the day Africa will truly graduate. And this is where you come in. Your action matters more than your applause. If this message touches your heart, don't just watch, act. Like this video if you believe Africans deserve our own curriculum. Share it with someone who's still trapped in the colonial classroom. Comment below with your thoughts. What subject should be added to decolonize African education? Follow and subscribe to this channel and join our growing community of thinkers, dreamers, and reformers. And don't forget my book, Degree Without Direction. It's available. Get on the list and be part of the movement, because change begins when conversation becomes conviction. And before we go, let me leave you with one final challenge, something to keep burning in your heart. They say if you want to enslave people, don't change their hands, change their minds. For too long, our minds had been changed by foreign curriculums, foreign heroes, and foreign validations. But now it is time to break free. Imagine a classroom where a child learns about Queen Amina, about the Nok civilization, about African inventors and innovators. Imagine a school where creativity counts more than copying. Imagine a system that teaches our children not to beg for opportunities, but to create them. We can build that system, but it starts with one brave question. Why are we still studying in the image of our colonizers? The answer to that question could rewrite our destiny. So my challenge to you is this: don't just get educated, get liberated. Because true education doesn't make you a copy, it makes you a creator. And when Africa starts teaching her truth, she will stop learning her inferiority. Let's rewrite the syllabus. Let's rewrite the story. Let's decolonize the classroom and re-educate the mind. Because the bell has rung. It is time for Africa's real lesson to begin. Thank you for watching this video, and I believe you have answered everything that I have asked, and you have learned a lot from this very video. Please, if you love this video, don't hesitate to share it. Share it and make it go viral. Let other Africans understand what I am talking about here. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.